Hey everyone, welcome to That Level Podcast, episode 39. This week we're going to be talking about our top 5 sci-fi films that are important to us. This week with the normal crew, Dai is with us. So Dai, if you want to introduce yourself and talk about your channel real quick, and then we'll go right into everything.
Yo, I'm Dai Gyakusatsu, and I pretty much just make YouTube videos about gaming, conventions, anime, whatever, Lego, anything nerdy, toys, whatever, figures. Yeah, pretty much it. Glad to be here.
All right, guys. So sci-fi has been a big part of all of our lives. It influences everything that we do, technology-wise and storytelling. So let's get into our number 5. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. For me, number 5 is the Transformers, the Michael Bay Transformers, the first one. It was before everybody got tired of big explosions and big cinematic deaths and stuff like that. It was actually a different way to present it, and it kind of stuck with me throughout the time. It's the subsequent stuff that made me get turned off. But the first one, it told a great solid story, gave us all the familiar characters right up front. Totally worth it.
And then they killed Jazz.
They gave Ironhide's death to Jazz.
I don't know. I know it's
okay.
It's been a long time, but spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, it happened so fast. The first time I ever watched the movie, I realized somebody was like, yeah, they killed Jazz. I was like, when? And then I went back and watched, oh, he died right there. Wow, that was really unceremonious. No one kind of gave a shit afterward.
I want a piece of you. I
except
want
for
you
Optimus.
in pieces.
Jazz.
Yeah.
That was literally Optimus. Jazz.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Jazz. Yeah, I know.
Why couldn't he just take little Sam Witwicky dipshit McNamnus there and just rip him in half? Come on.
That's what he should have done when he's on top of that building and stuff. And he's all like, give me the cube, boy. It should have been, give me the cube, fresh creature. No, screw that. Crushes Sam and goes, I got the cube, and flies off.
Yeah.
Megatron in the cartoon, in the comic, the Marvel comic, would have never put up with that. And
he just popped his head.
He just popped his head and like,
boink.
and it flew off. That's.
But then we wouldn't have gotten Devastator nuts.
Yeah. All right. Who's next?
Never mind. Let's keep it on the rails. I'll save that for later.
I guess I could go next because actually mine is a Michael Bay movie as well, and that is The Island. Now, I'm not sure if you guys see this movie, but I really do enjoy it. It's just very a creative way to like clone yourself to give like yourself organs and stuff without giving too much plot away. Oh, I guess I kind of spoiled it, but but yeah. No, it's a very creative movie, and it's, I think, one of Michael Bay's movies that actually made him quite big before Transformers and all that. And I really do like it. The cinematography is actually pretty good. Michael Clark Duncan was in there, and good cast overall. And I really do enjoy the movie. So,
I mean, you got the early days of Ewan McGregor, and then ScarJo.
Yeah, and in fairness, it was a really interesting concept for Bay. I mean, I don't know who wrote it. I don't know if he would have been the one behind that, but it was definitely an interesting concept overall for a movie for sure.
It was definitely one of his best.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So I guess I'll go, and then David can go last, and that way we continue the circle back and forth. All right, so my number 5, and technically none of my movies are in any particular order, but my number 5 isn't no surprise, and that is Star Wars: A New Hope. It really impacted science fiction stories and films heavily. A lot of movies tried to replicate what George Lucas created with the first Star Wars movie. and the hero's journey. It was a great story. You got to meet these great cast of characters. Everything fit really well, and at the time the technology was great for what we were seeing on screen back in 77. Of course, I didn't see it until I was later, maybe I was 2. But I'm pretty sure I watched it. I was probably watched it a lot because my dad watched it a lot. But yeah. So yeah, my number 5 is A New Hope.
Yeah. I mean, what else can you say about Star Wars, right? So my number 5, and it was one of the ones that kind of came up immediately just when I was thinking of sci-fi, and it was just a ton of fun when it came out. But Men in Black, right? Such a fun, like just crazy zonkers type of movie, just a bunch of madness going on. It's just, that whole movie is just a ton of fun, and it's simultaneously this humorous, hilarious movie, and then it's this disgusting, gross out feature, right? With when he goes and steals the dude's skin. And what's crazy is, whenever I came back and was watching,
Is this better?
Yes. What was crazy was I didn't realize that the guy who played him,
Yes. Vincent D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio.
He was
he's the Kingpin. Yeah.
The Daredevil Netflix series. And I saw, someone told me that, and I was like, no, you're kidding. And then I went and somebody had put a picture of them side by side from him in Men in Black and him as the Kingpin. I was like, holy crap, what else has this dude been in? I need to go find some more movies of his. Like he kills it.
Yeah, he was in Law and Order for the longest time.
Yeah, Law and Order. Oh, come on. Was it no, he was in that one movie where he played a brother to Robert Downey Jr. and had Robert Duvall in it. I can't remember what it was called, but that was a good one. Was he in Full Metal Jacket, or what was the?
Oh yeah, he was the guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just one of those. Maybe not understated, but just one of those faces that you just kind of see in movies, and you're like, oh, that guy. Yeah, I like this guy. And move right along, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, love that little series. It's good.
Yeah, Men in Black was great. I mean, I'd love to see another take on it where it's more period, like in the 40s or something like that. Have it more a little serious than the more comical with Will Smith.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a perfect little cop dynamic, right? And I love Kay. I love Kay in those. Just that was I think where my my appreciation for dry wit started coming in with the way that he was in that movie. It was, man, I need to rewatch it, right? I need to go back and rewatch all 3, because I think 2 is the one. It's been the longest time since I've seen it.
Yeah, I just recently watched 3 again.
I watched 1 ton. I watched 3 not that long ago and really dug it. I need to go back and rewatch 2. Like, I know, like everything else, they kind of drop off, but there's still always just that entertainment value to all of them, because none of them are bad. They're all really solid flicks. Just that first one was gold.
Well, I didn't. Oh, go ahead.
Did you see International yet? Was that one any good? Last one
I
just came.
heard a lot of bad stuff about it, so I kind of stayed away. Yeah, I think I caught the end of it one day. Like, my brother-in-law, I think, was watching it. I walked in and kind of caught the end of it, and I don't know. I just, all the word of mouth around it. I just kind of strayed from that one.
I haven't watched it yet either. But yeah, I was going to mention something, but I don't remember seeing it, because I thought he played one of the villains, or the villain in 3, Tim Curry. But who was that who played the villain in that?
Oh man, you're killing me. I'm drawing a blank. Crap. Why are you doing this to me, Vince?
Hey, it's a rabbit hole. We'll go down it real quick.
Yeah. All right. My turn again. While you guys are looking. And my number 4 choice is Time Bandits.
You know,
Classic movie.
That movie is perpetually on my list of I need to get around to watching this, and I just haven't.
I bought it on Blu-ray because I had to have it, and it is so beautifully glorious in Blu-ray. I'm telling you what, you get a nice surround system with that. Return what you have stolen from me. Coming out of everywhere is magnificent.
It's hard to go wrong with what Terry Gilliam, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just
Man.
it just there's so much to love on it. There's no one thing here and there you can pick out. I mean, there's a lot of great lines like, if I were in charge, it'd be 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. lasers. He's zapping people.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I need to. Yeah, because it was on sale on Blu-ray when I saw it. And I told Dad about it. It's like, yeah, you need to get it, Dad, so I can watch it again.
No, but I went and got it on Blu-ray a while back, and I'm like, yeah, this is. If I'm chasing something on Blu-ray, it's something that's it's top shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dai, your turn.
Okay. For my number 4, I decided to go with Jurassic Park. I still think it's the best out of the whole series, in my personal opinion. I mean, just with the visual, the effects and even the added CG, was way advanced for its time. I really do like the cast that was in it, with Malcolm and all that. I'm glad they, even the newer ones aren't as good. I'm glad they're bringing some of the older cast back just as like a Easter egg or just a, I like that. Overall, overall, I just really do love the movies. So I could watch them over and over again, especially the first two. Third one, not so much, but yeah, they're pretty good movies. So Jurassic Park, definitely.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that stood the test of time for the visual effects.
Yeah.
It held up pretty dang well, even today's standards. And now that when you watch it, it's got the touch-ups on it, so it doesn't look as dated with the Blu-ray releases and stuff.
And rightfully so.
Yeah. Number 4 for me is The Fifth Element. Come on. It's a space chase, the unlikely hero. You got
Gary
Lilu
Oldman.
with her multi-pass. That movie came out when I was in high school and just loved it. And of course, it's another movie done by Luc Besson. This is something actually he wrote when he was in high school that he wanted to do as a movie at one point, and he finally got it off the ground. But,
and tying it back to our last episode, right? You got Chris Tucker again, just doing scenery as he does, and then Gary Oldman just killing it.
Gary Oldman,
Gary Oldman's fantastic in that movie. Just batshit insanity that's going on in there, and everything about it's shot really well. The
music's fantastic.
Michael Clark Duncan, again, another throwback. So excellent choice.
Absolutely, killing it. Let's see here. So going on to my next one. This was a movie that I was introduced to at my grandparents' house, and I watched it quite a bit. I was really big into various mythologies growing up, mainly surrounding Greek mythology. And one of the mythologies I never quite got very far into, and I kept meaning to, was Egyptian mythology, and so Stargate really kind of drew me into that a little bit. So I did wind up reading up on stuff like Osiris and Horus and Ra and all that. But Stargate was such a cool movie. The whole mystery elements of it, leading into the beginning, traveling off into the distant planet, them struggling with learning the language, all that stuff. It was great, right? And all the setups to it, the payoffs to that movie was fantastic. The final little battle, blowing up the pyramid, it was great. I love that movie. It's been a while since I've revisited it. I need to go back to it. You got crew cut Kurt Russell just kicking ass all over the place, and yeah, it's great, right? I love the
James
first
Spader.
time you see them, the guys stalking the halls, right, with the crazy helmets, and then they just push the buttons and watching as it descends down. Man, so many moments of that movie I just absolutely loved.
Yep, it spawned a TV show, actually 3 TV shows,
Multiple
multiple TV shows, and then some online miniseries and stuff. But yeah, Stargate would be on my list, but it's one of the ones I figured one of you guys would do, so I totally took it out. But Stargate, man, just great. Was it James Spader? Playing Daniel, and then there's a lot of characters. What's funny is that there's just actors in that movie that went on to be doing other roles, but they started in that film.
Yeah.
David, real quick, did you ever have a Sega Saturn game system?
So there's a void in my console owning years, and Sega is one of those. I had a buddy who had one, but I did not personally have one. No,
because we had one, and we had one game for it, and that was a game you would have been interested in. It was called Power Slave.
I have it.
It was basically all Egyptian mythology and stuff like that, and it was a very engrossing game, very good game. And you go through and you get artifacts from the Egyptian gods to increase your character's power to be able to get through the game.
Okay.
It was a very, very good game.
Well, and then it brings up the fact that the Stargate to me had a really good game on the Super Nintendo. I love the whole thing of like just running around, running, gunning, taking on Anubis and Raw and all that. And then you're looking for the artifacts and stuff. So if you don't get all the artifacts to dial back home, you're stuck there. So it had multiple endings. But I enjoyed that game a lot. So
yeah, man, good stuff.
Mhm.
Oh shit! They released a Power Slave Exhumed, which was enhanced port of the PC and modern consoles gaming elements for the Saturn and PlayStation versions. Power Slave Exhumed was released on February 10th, 2022.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to find that.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
It was an outstanding game. Okay, and now David.
What?
No, David already. Yeah, he already gave his.
So it's my turn again?
Yeah, your turn.
See, now I'm the one in the headlights. All right. My next choice is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Just straight up classic. Another Spielberg monster. Just, lots of great memorable bits in it. Great overall story. More than satisfactory ending to it. It was one of those ones that growing up, I always remembered it after seeing it. And I saw it when I was young, like right after it first came out. So, and of course, I always reference the mashed potato thing.
This means something.
Yeah. Tying back to last week's episode.
We keep doing that.
I mean, action and sci-fi are definitely bedfellows, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. My turn?
Yep.
All right. For my number 3 is Demolition Man. I love this movie. I really do. Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, all that stuff. I really do like it. Plus, the cryogenics technology they used was very cool, and I just thought it was a really cool, neat idea that And I'm not sure about the theory, but did you guys hear about when later on they said that the character Sandra Bullock was actually his daughter?
Yeah, originally they were in the script that it was going to be his daughter, but they canned that.
Yeah, okay.
They were gonna old boy the crap out of that movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Well, what's up? Yeah. No, it's a really great movie. I really do like that. They had its, a little bit of martial arts scenes. Honestly, it probably would be in my top 3 to 4 Sylvester Stallone movies. So, I mean, definitely had to be on.
Yeah, that's
Fair. That's totally fair.
Demolition Man was great. I mean, Wesley Snipes is just like he's another person that was just chewing the scenery.
Mhm.
I'm just
Dude,
like,
that is the reason to watch that movie. Is just go watch it to go watch Wesley Snipes just devour scenes. Because he
Yeah.
is
With his
Does
bright
anyone
ass
know
blonde
what the-
hair.
yes.
yeah.
Does anyone know what the 3 she shells were?
How to use them? The 3 she shells?
Yeah. Seashells.
No.
I have no idea, but I don't care. It was great.
Taco Bell. Well, everybody's eating Taco Bell, so I mean, I'm sure that's the only franchise you have. We all know what Taco Bell does to you, so you can't have toilet paper. So you got to find an alternative. You use the 3 seashells for wiping your ass.
You probably just scoop it out with one, scoop it out with the next one, scoop it out with the next
Yeah,
one.
you're like-
like a side of Taco Bell.
But then you don't. But you need
Then
more.
you have to
than
wash
3.
them.
If you're scooping, yeah, you need more than 3.
I don't know if you're efficient with it or if they're good sized.
So if anybody can figure out how to use the 3 seashells, put it down in the comments below.
yeah,
Oh,
with great detail.
obnoxious amounts of detail.
The one who puts the best detail into it will get a gift card to Taco Bell.
And an eventual
Uh,
T-shirt.
Oh Lord.
This man knows how to use the 3 seashells. I wonder how many people will be like, "What? Huh? What's that from?" Man, but then you had Dennis Leary. That was another thing. His classic
Mhm.
rants back then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love the costume design that they like all the costumes that are I enjoy that as well. So.
Yeah. So, my number 3 on this list, came out in 1999. I remember seeing previews for it in the theaters, and we were hyped about it, but we had no idea what this movie was until we went and saw it. All we knew was that Keanu Reeves was in the movie and Lawrence Fishburne. And man, The Matrix just left an impact on me. And just the music in that, the visual effects, the things that they created for that film were a step beyond and were utilized in other films. Of course, a lot of films tried to copy it, but it introduced the bullet time. It gave people the idea of possibly we're living in a computer simulation. But it was just a fantastic film. Alice in Wonderland, basically.
Yeah. I will say that I do recognize the powerhouse film that it is, but it didn't have, I mean, for different stuff like that, it didn't have that much of an impact on me. But some of the stuff in it did. As I just got rid of it. All of my screensavers, every computer I have, Matrix screensaver.
I mean,
Because-
in fairness, right after that movie came out, everyone's screensaver was the Matrix screensaver.
Yes. And
Yes,
they're
but
all
it's-
wearing black trench coats or leather trench coats.
Yes, but it's like over 20 years later.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still doing it. So that's impact.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I dig Keanu Reeves. He always, he never phones it in. Carrie Ann Moss was great in it. Lawrence Fishburne was great in it.
Hugo Weaving as Mr.
Hugo
Smith.
Weaving. Yeah. Hugo Weaving. That man has got such a resume.
Yeah, I mean, within what, the same handful of years, he did all 3 Lord of the Rings movies and all 3 Matrix movies. It was like you had a Matrix and then a Lord of the Rings and then a Matrix and then a Matrix, and it was like, man, Hugo is just, he doesn't have to work another day in his life. He made so much bank off
No,
that.
No kidding.
and and the sad thing is, you think about like, think about that time we had the Aaliyah was supposed to be in the film, which was supposed to be technically. There was a lot of things that were changed and taken out of the film because of certain things that were going on in Hollywood and the death of Aaliyah and all that stuff. So I wonder what could have been that they were originally going to do.
Her death was such a waste, man. She was so talented on everything she did. She was just fantastic. Huge loss.
Dave?
All righty, my turn. So I was out of all the old classic sci-fi writers, my favorite that I've read is PKD, right? Philip K. Dick had such a great eye for sci-fi and insanity, and there's been so many different movies that have told so many of his stories, right? Blade Runner being the most famous of them. But honestly, I kind of like Total Recall better if I had to pick between the two, right? I mean, it's such a crazy ass movie. It's so weird and out there. It has the whole, is it all real? It plays more into that sense of what is going on with reality that Philip K. Dick did. Like, I know everyone tries to say that Blade Runner does it, but it really doesn't lean into Harrison Ford being a replicant, depending on the version of it that you watch and all that good stuff.
Well, because in the book he wasn't a replicant,
right? But Recall, right? Recall, the book, all of it was all just a big mind game. And I know, there's the scene in the middle where they try and establish that no, it's all real, but still, the fact that you can go all the way through that movie and still kind of question, man, is this still just the simulation in his brain? Is it all legit? And Michael Ironside, a classic movie villain, just tearing it up through that. Arnie, at some of the peak portions of his power, tearing it up through there. Young Sharon Stone just being a badass again in that movie. I mean, it's so good. There's so many great kills in it. There's so many good one-liners. There's so many iconic, fantastic moments of it. 2 weeks, right? I mean,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Man, baby, you make me wish I had 3 hands.
Man, I love that. I love that movie, man. It's such a good time.
See you at the party, Richter.
See you at the party, Richter.
Or,
one of the subtlest ones in there that I didn't even realize the first time I was watching it. I watched it through the second time and I laughed pretty hard at it. Was when he's using the little holographic watch, right? And he's just like, you think I'm the real Quaid? I am. And then shoots him.
Yeah. Consider this a divorce.
Oh damn! I love that movie, man. It's such a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And the theme song to it, right? Man, I'll listen to. Oh, it's good. It's good. I love it,
dude. A lot of those movies that Arnold was in, those like ending theme songs are great. Or the ending song.
All right, my number 2, Blade Runner. The first one, absolutely. I felt that it was the first good retelling.
Released in theaters. Was that the one with the voiceover, or which of the 5 versions are we talking about?
I'm gonna go back all the way to the original.
Yeah, okay. with no narration.
Yeah, I'm gonna go all the way back to that because it didn't need the narration. It didn't, it didn't need any special enhancements. It was a good sci-fi movie based on a great book. It was done with a lot of great practical effects, very gritty, for the time that it came out. It was dark.
Mm-hmm.
So, it set a completely different tone and helped move sci-fi in a different direction.
I mean, it helped to establish an entire aesthetic, right? Like that entire visual portion of that movie defined an entire genre till now, right? Is still heavily borrowing from Blade Runner all over the place.
Yeah, it's one of the parents of cyberpunk as far as
cyberpunk, noir. You know, there was a lot of elements in that movie. I mean, even in that original version of the film, he's not a replicant. It wasn't until they started messing with everything that he changed it. And it's like, regardless, because the script, he wasn't a replicant. It was Ridley Scott that wanted to make him that. But it's like, it makes him less of that character because, you know, we had become so detached with reality that we were almost becoming robots. And these replicants that we were creating were more human than we were. And that was the whole point of the book.
It was also one of the earliest films to have voice activated technology in it.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he was pulling stuff from the videotape, he was sitting there telling it how to zoom in and stuff like that, and then print the pictures of the frame. You know,
dude,
that whole scene was.
I want that technology.
Exactly. I mean, we're close. We're so close.
Where's my flying car?
It looks like an airplane.
I mean, more than that, it's got one of the greatest ad-lib scenes of all time, right? Like that whole last bit about the tears in the rain.
Tears in the rain, dude. Yeah, that Rutger Hauer.
Rutger Hauer came up man on the spot, and it was like, wow, that's
RIP, man.
That is so good. And Howard in that movie.
Talk about an actor that almost everything he did was just fantastic.
Yes.
But a lot of the stuff he did later on or here and there were B movies, sadly. But all those movies were still great.
So he definitely sold it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next.
Dai? Yeah, you're number 2.
Oh, okay. My number 2 is They Live with Roddy Piper. I'm here to chew gum and kick ass, but I'm all out of bubble gum. And then I still use that line today. And I really do like Keith David in it as well. And I really do love the whole premise of the aliens and the glasses and stuff and all that stuff. I really do love that movie, and really worth a watch. So definitely do like. Plus the poster of it was really cool. I never had it, but I forget what movie that was in that I saw. That they had like Easter egg, They Live in it, but it was a very good movie.
So a little fun fact about They Live is that when those first 2 weeks it came out, it was hitting box office records, but like because of the themes in it, it started to tank.
Yeah.
Because Carpenter says because of the studios and powers of B at the time, because he made it as a commentary of our state, the Reagan era and everything. And but it was still a fantastic movie. That 15-minute fight scene with Nada and Frank.
Every time you think it's over, nope, they're going back.
And then when he hits the car, he goes, "Dude, I'm sorry." Oh,
yeah.
You put these glasses on, huh? Or and then Roddy Piper, man. I wish he could have. I wish he could have got to do more acting. Because Carpenter was really trying to get him to pursue that and trying to show him that he could really achieve that. But Hell Comes from Frogtown, still a good movie. And it's a B movie, but I mean, it's still, he does a good job in that movie.
Hey man, B movies are well beloved for reasons, right?
Absolutely, man.
They might not have the mainstream widespread success that the big blockbusters do, but there's still a devoted, loving fan base to all that stuff. And I mean, I like we were talking about earlier, right? With you can make a really solid career off of B movies and be beloved and do well for yourself. And yeah, I mean,
look at Clint Howard.
Just just his charisma, right? He could have definitely carried his way through a lot more movies than he did. But
absolutely,
man. All right. So my number 2. And after we get through David, we'll go and do our honorable mentions, and then we'll get to our number 1s. But my number 2 is going to be Tron Legacy. A great sequel to a movie. It the visually just beyond amazing. The soundtrack by Daft Punk, there's just so much good elements in it. And it's such a letdown that we're not going to get a 3, what they were planning on doing. And they actually set it up at the end of the movie, or actually part of the in the movie, and then at the end with the deleted scene where you find out that Dillinger's son is the, would have been the villain in the
I
movie.
still haven't seen it.
It's fantastic.
Is that on
It is-
Disney Plus? I wonder.
It
I
may
think-
be. I have to look.
I'll take a look later.
It is just beautiful. I mean, having Jeff Bridges come back to, reprise his role, and then I mean, there's some. Keep in mind, there's some visual things with the de-aging. Yeah, for
Yeah, there's
Q.
some things there, right? It was the early
Yeah.
the early forays into trying to do that. So there's definitely jank around the lips when it comes to how he looks, but
if you go into the movie thinking about it, the fact that he's a program, he's a copy, it makes sense. It
it plays into
works. It plays into it because he's not quite, Finn.
yeah, the main thing I remember from
Or
that
Flynn,
movie was
sorry.
before it even came out, right? They put out that little teaser video, which was just the program like walking out and then you seeing the light
Oh,
cycle,
man.
right? Chase. And I remember downloading that. That was one of the first things that I downloaded that was in like super high quality HD. And dude, I rewatched that's so many times just because of how awesome it looked, right? And then whenever he goes completely dark, and it's like they can do that, and then he pops out, cuts him across and destroys that one dude's bike.
Mhm.
Like, man, again, before the movie even came out, I watched that so many times that it was gorgeous, right? Just the overall look of that
Yeah,
movie.
I mean I felt that there was no lull moments in that movie. It was just like constant. There was moments where it was dialogue drops, but it felt right because Sam not seeing his father for so long, and just the build up. It was like how the music was just build up to the drop, and then the beats would go and everything. So it felt perfect, and that's why Daft Punk soundtrack. I mean, their soundtrack for that movie was just fantastic. Them composing it.
Yeah, no, it definitely fit really well. I remember my son and I, whenever we got Disney Infinity 2.0, I think was whenever they started introducing some of the Tron elements. We would purposefully go into the little sandbox thing and spawn the recognizers, because whenever you were in them, it would play the recognized song, right? Or derezzed. It would play derezzed.
Yeah.
And so we would just fly around, but because of the turn radiuses, we could never quite catch each other. So we would just spin forever, firing missiles off in the distance while listening to derezzed, and it was awesome. And then I would hop out as Nova and destroy him, and it was fantastic. So it always worked.
That soundtrack is amazing. I mean, I had it. I don't have it anymore because it was in my car when I got carjacked, but I will be getting it again eventually. But I have it digitally. But it's like one of those things where I want to, give back because it was such a great thing.
Cool.
Man, I got choices now. So I keep waffling back and forth between two different movies because and it's kind of hard for me to pick one or the other. They both start with I. They're both by Christopher Nolan.
Mhm.
So I might just go split with them, right? Between Inception and Interstellar. Right. They were both such I think I liked the execution more of Inception, but I really liked the story of Interstellar, and I really liked a lot of the effects that were shown in it, right? When he finally does make his way into the black hole and you find out that he was the one who was sending all the signals back to his daughter, all that stuff, right? I mean, there's so many awesome little bitty moments to each of those movies that it's hard for me to pick one over the other. And I still have another spot to go for a movie that I like more than both of these. So I don't want to, so yeah, I'll just go with the two Christopher Nolan I movies, right? Yeah,
Dude, those movies are fantastic. I mean, it's hard to choose between the two of those because one, on a relatability as being a parent and having a child, and the journey and being away from your child, and then your love being the thing that connects to save everything. You know, that no matter how far you are, your will can make things happen. Versus like getting lost in yourself in your dreams. And the cast alone in Inception is just amazing. I mean, the lack for a better term, I mean, the visual vistas, like whenever they're showing the city and Elliot Page is walking with, you know, DiCaprio, and he's showing her. It's hard to like say this in past tense.
Yeah. At the time, it was her, right?
It was her. But yeah, so showing her, the character, how to manipulate the world and everything, and to not get too complex, because you'll make the dream identities realize there's something wrong and they want to correct it, and they know you're the target.
And that was, you know, and that was a common complaint from a lot of people, was the fact that that movie wasn't crazier, right? They're like, man, where's all the like crazy dream dragon? And it was like, did you miss that entire thing where they literally go through and explain, like, look, they're not trying to go into this guy's dream whenever he's playing a king in like some fantasy kingdom doing all this nonsense. They're trying to recreate the real world.
Yeah.
To implant these ideas or to steal these ideas or whatever to make it work. So you can't make it this big weird nonsense. They had to make it as close to the real, you know, McCoy as possible, and it all got baked in there. And so yeah, it gave itself a reason to exist for you know, the way that it was. And yeah, I mean, but again, both just such good, great movies, right? And I really love the weird robot design in Interstellar, and how
dude, that robot, man,
how much of a Swiss Army knife that thing was, right? One of the coolest moments is whenever it turned into that weird spinning what the hell, like where all of its legs were, and it just started spinning through the water, and that was how it essentially ran wherever it was needing to get to. Like, just so many cool little details and design aspects that were sprinkled all throughout both of those movies that made them just awesome and really fun to go back and rewatch through.
Talk about a movie that kind of does 2001 so much better. You know, this
Space Baby.
maybe, but you think about like the like Matt Damon's portrayal of that character, the one who's been marooned on that freaking planet for however long, he's just gone completely nuts, was so believable.
And he couldn't accept, you know, his
failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that I need to rewatch those movies again. But yeah, they're great movies. They're one of those movies you can just put on and just watch it all the way through, and like,
you're invested.
Oh, it's on TV, I'm gonna watch it again. You know, it's not like, yeah, you get bored with it.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna do all three of my honorable mentions and then my number one. Okay, my honorable mentions are District 9. Okay. Frequency,
Mm-hmm.
and Star Trek the Motion Picture. All three, you know, great movies. Particularly Star Trek, was seeing the original characters on the big screen, brought them back. Fantastic. District 9, very realistic alien movie. And Frequency, which I just love the story in Frequency. Great story. I mean, edge of the seat type of stuff all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all three of those are great honorable mentions.
And my number one, this is a curveball, and this is going to get a few laughs. Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Okay.
Love me some Ed Wood. It's cheesy. It's horrible. The effects sucked. The actors phoned it in all the way through. Ed Wood knew what he was doing, but didn't know how to execute it. It's all gold. I love every moment of that movie.
And what's great is it led to a fantastic Tim Burton movie, right?
Yeah.
Hey, where's the airplane? Oh, we're in it, right? As they're building it all around them.
Yes. And Vincent D'Onofrio was in it in a cameo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was fantastic, man. Like I've never sat down and watched that original, but I feel like I've watched almost all of it just because of all the commentaries
Yeah.
and again,
The recreation of it in the Ed Wood movie is fairly accurate. I mean, yeah, they glossed over a few things, but it's just so much fun. It just, you can see the strings in the UFOs. You can see that the cockpit of the airplane is mason board. And you can also figure out that they doubled that as something else on the reverse side. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Still, it's gold. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on digital. I have it on DVD. I have it on VHS. And I will pop anyone in. I don't care. I have seen it maybe 50 times. And
Very
don't
nice.
get bored with it ever.
All right. Okay, for my 3 honorable mentions, the first one is The Fifth Element. I was gonna add that on the list. I was trying to be different. Tomorrow's World, which actually just came out last year with Chris Pratt. I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen it.
Mhm.
The effects weren't tremendously great on that movie, but I feel like the story premise was great on it. But the story could have been aligned a little bit better, I think. But I thought it was a good movie and kind of creative. Yeah, and then Predator, with Schwarzenegger and all the BA muscly guys back then. And then for my number one movie, sci-fi movie, I'll have to go with RoboCop. I love this movie. And I know I saw this back in the 90s, but last year was the first time I saw it in a good 20 years, and it still held up. I really thought it was really good. And I still, I watched it a couple times with a few friends, and I love the theme song. It's just amazing. Plus, Red Foreman off that 70 shows in it.
Yes.
And so it's just an excellent movie. Definitely recommend it and whatnot. So definitely one of my favorites.
I'd buy that for $1, right?
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah, I mean, so much of that movie still it still stands up. We're going back to Verhoeven, right?
Yeah.
For another one. But yeah, there's so many good moments of that movie, and it's what made the automatic pistol something that everyone wanted in every video game.
Yeah.
Whenever Blood Dragon came out, and
Oh, dude.
I was like, oh, I don't even care what other guns exist in this game. I'm just running through the RoboCop gun. That's all that mattered. It was so good.
Oh man. So
Nice.
the funny thing is like, so you had Peter Weller playing Alex Murphy, RoboCop. And the funny thing is like, he's talked about it. He said that originally when they designed the suit, he was supposed to actually move like really fast and all this other stuff, but because of the way the suit design was, and when he could only move certain ways, so they had to redo how he walked. So it just that made it that whole iconic, the doom, 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 when he was walking everywhere. But yeah, RoboCop is another excellent sci-fi film.
I wouldn't be surprised if the RoboCop and his walk and how you didn't see it at first, you heard it a couple of times and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was an influence on the Batman a little.
It definitely felt like it. That's a whole other conversation that we can have.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely his entrances in that movie are very reminiscent of RoboCop.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, and they were one of the first ones to do that type of stuff. So because you hear the footsteps, and then you hear the servos, and then he rounds the corner, and if I were one of those low life criminals, I'd shit my pants.
So
Right.
yeah, and then you think about what Frank Miller writing the script for that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you had the stop motion with Ed 209.
Yeah.
Talk about a movie that had like amazing practical effects.
I mean, that one dude got blown up by like what, 1 million blood squids?
Yeah, yeah. or the dude who got shot in the dick.
Yeah. You didn't see the blood squirt to that. That was good. Now I think about it, I'm thinking about my choice of Total Recall to RoboCop. I almost want to play the two scenes on top of each other to see which one has more blood squibs. The one dude being absolutely decimated by Ed 209, and then the one dude that Quaid uses as the meat shield whenever
Meat
he's
shield.
going up.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Do a side by side of it. That would be
I don't know,
awesome.
man, because Alex Murphy gets messed up, dude.
Yes.
In the original cut, I mean the version we saw
Criterion
in
version.
we saw in theaters, not the VHS TV made for TV edit version.
The original one was brutal.
That went on for like a solid 15, 30
Yeah.
seconds, a minute. It felt like.
Man, it was.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Brutal.
Yeah. Okay, so my honorable mentions are going to be and I tried to think of things that were different and things that I enjoy a lot, but my first one's going to be Vanilla Sky.
Okay.
Great visuals. I mean, you can definitely tell when he's in the dream world or in his head. The Kurt Russell's character as the psychologist, the person who's trying to help him through this stuff. How crazy Cameron Diaz is in that film. It's just great music. Just Peter Gabriel with Salisbury Hill, yeah, and just a great movie. And then of course my first love for time travel, Back to the Future, Marty McFly, going back in time.
I thought you were gonna say Time Cop.
Oh,
You made him spit out his drink, bro.
that's the monopoly of sci-fi right there, right?
Hey man, it's every movie. You got Jean-Claude Van Damme with him sitting doing the splits butt naked on a freaking
That's not
cares?
necessary.
in every movie he does.
It was not necessary.
Except for Bloodsport. Well, I may take that back. Maybe he'd been doing that. I don't remember.
There was probably a nut shot in there somewhere that you missed, because you don't want to look at it constantly every time.
And Bloodsport, he wasn't naked. He was in the hotel, and his buddy that gets beat up by Bolo comes. He's like, "Well, that's cool," or something like that. But yeah, he does do it.
Oh yeah, he's like, "That's gotta hurt, man," or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're making me in pain or something like that. Yeah. But great movie. Yeah, just
Excellent choice.
so. And then my third movie that I'm going to choose is Valerian. Great visual, spectacle. Enjoyed the story, making me want to read the actual comic it was from, but it's not something that's here, so I can't say it's a comic book movie. But my number one isn't going to be a surprise for anyone. And if you notice anything about my list of my top 5, they're all movies that are groundbreaking for the time. And that is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Great film from start to finish. The effects for the T-1000 with Robert Patrick are amazing. Young Eddie Furlong playing John Connor, and you can definitely tell the scenes where he's before puberty and after puberty with his voice starting to break. Just a great build-up. All the backstory of things that we didn't get with the first film. This felt like the completed version of what James Cameron was trying to tell.
Yeah.
And he totally knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
That movie really helped establish him as a powerhouse director.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
the difference between T2 and T1 were so crazy in the effects was.
And something I want to add, Stan Winston, his visual effects studio and how much they were a big input into what was done in that film. And just like looking back at like some of the concept sketches that Cameron did and everything, and what they were trying to see if they could do in film, that whole future war scene is just amazing. You know, seeing the T-800s rocking around and the HK tanks, HK aerials, it was just beautiful. I mean, it was great. The whole film, amazing. It's my my number one.
All righty. I guess we're all doing 3 honorable mentions then for in a weird way. Going back to my absolute love of Michael Ironside, and yet again Verhoeven movie, right? You got Starship Troopers, just a fantastic, fun little action sci-fi. Got to kill the bugs. You got all the little ads and propaganda all throughout it. That movie destroyed the book for me because the book is absolutely nothing like that movie in the slightest whatsoever. Right? It's night and day between the two, but
yeah, it's different.
It was such a good movie. So awesome, right? Just the first time you see just a wave of bugs, and you just keep thinking, you're like, oh yeah, the heroes are gonna come out on top, but then you just have this sinking feeling as they just take so many shots. You're like, good Lord, they're just dumping buckets and buckets of ammo, and this thing still comes up and stabs you in the leg, still tears you apart. They're just this unstoppable force. And then you find and one of the cool scenes, right, with the giant maggot that just jabs into the top of the dude's head.
The brain bug.
Oh, so good. Going to the Matrix and the, disturbing world within a world, not sure if your world is real type deal, right? The movie that a lot of people say that the Matrix ripped off was, or at least that it beat the Matrix to the punch, was Dark City. I found out about that movie long after the Matrix, right? I heard people talking about it. I was like, I didn't hear anything about this movie.
Beautiful film.
Got into it, right? And so good, right? Starts off as like almost this weird murder mystery type deal, and then it just slowly spins further and further and further out into the awesome little spectacle that it became. Love that movie. Definitely plays a little bit more into the noir elements of those types of stories.
Jennifer Connelly, man.
Dude, Jennifer Connelly again at like peak powers of Jennifer Connelly. It was
peak powers. I've never heard it put like that.
Dude, she's gorgeous in everything she does, man. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. And
she was very gorgeous in The Rocketeer.
So I can't. I blame the mask for my penchant for lounge singer scenes, and her scene in that was great. Again, just playing all into that. Anyways, third honorable mention. I'm taking up way too much time on all these. Would be a movie that I saw not that long ago. I was watching some various people talk about reviews about kind of unknown sci-fi movies or undersold ones, and this was done by the guy who did Saw, the original one, and it's called Upgrade. Upgrade, dude. It's a fantastic, like the way that they shot so many scenes in that is such a cool little aspect where they had a chip that was set to follow. He had an iPhone in his pocket, and the camera was synced up to follow the iPhone. So anytime the premise is there's a little computer chip on a guy who's a quadriplegic, and it can talk to him, and every once in a while he'll allow it to take over his body to do various things because he's trying to find out who murdered his wife. And when it takes over, the way that the movie's shot just shifts in this weird little subtle way. And so it's cool to see these aspects. There's one moment where he does all these crazy backflips, and just the way it pans with him looks so cool. And just the mystery of the story is fantastic. The payoff at the end is great. I won't give it away because it's not that old of a movie. And if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go check it out. It's a fantastic little almost indie film. But anyways, on to the movie that the sci-fi movie I've probably watched the absolute most in my life. And this is the one that I made the joke about earlier that dealt with cleaning of the eyes. And that's The Last Starfighter. And if you know the scene I'm talking about, when oh man, why is my name not Grig? Oh, his name. The guy who was selling the Centauri. There we go. Yeah. Centauri. Whenever they first realize that he's an alien, he literally takes his eyes out and cleaning them off as if they're glasses, and that's when you see the glowing eyes and all that when they're flying up into space. But man, I watched that movie when I was a kid, and it had nothing to do really with, oh man, he's playing video games and he goes off and becomes this hero. It was just the idea of being a normal kid and being swept up in this crazy sci-fi battle, right? Being pulled into all this craziness. The designs of the aliens were all really cool. The concept of the way that the ships were designed and set up was fantastic. The Death Blossom. A lot of the effects don't hold up, right? Because I think Last Starfighter was a little bit after Tron. It was either a little bit after, I think, Tron, or maybe even it was right around the same time. So,
yeah, production-wise, yes. I think they were right around the same time. But
yeah. So, I mean, at the time, the visuals were great, but now it's like the scene where they're flying inside of the little asteroid is rough to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But I love it, man. It was such a fun movie, and it feels like it was setting itself up for a sequel that we never quite got. And I know that there's always rumors every now and then that comes up that they're going to be doing a new Starfighter. And part of me wants to see it. Part of me just wants them to leave it alone because I don't want them to do something that's going to screw it up or whatever. But yeah, I watched that movie on just over and over again growing up. I absolutely love that film. And even to this day, I still will pop it in from time to time and just watch through it because it's such a good little film to watch.
Oh yeah, that's another one of those movies where it's like a person that, or a child or a kid that feels that he's destined for more, but the situation he lives in shows that he's not. He'll never escape.
Well, and one of the cool things that, like, after rewatching it, the movie almost feels like it's out of time, right? Like outside of him playing on an arcade cabinet, there's nothing with the way anyone's dressed. There's no real references in it that date it to a point in time, right? Like, I mean, again, other than the fact that he's playing on an arcade cabinet instead of on a internet connected console in his room. That's really the only thing that kind of takes it out of.
It's still, but if you think about it though, the film itself is set in like this backwater trailer park community, right? So, or just some place that not close to civilization. Yeah. And it's kind of believable that they have an arcade unit there. I mean, so technically people are buying arcades and refitting them up and putting them out. So not for consumer to have, but who's to say that there's not somebody in the trailer park that actually did that and put it there so people had something to do in the park.
Yeah, small town feel.
Yeah, so it's believable, but it is one of those movies that stands the test of time, definitely, other than the CGI. So but I wouldn't mind seeing someone go back and touch it up and then try to re-release it with just keeping everything it is, but like touch up the CGI, any of the space combat, because the cockpit scenes are great. Yeah, that was all practical effects. So I think you could do it. I think you really could. I don't even know who owns that.
I believe it's Disney.
Because they were supposed to be doing a sequel to Black Hole too at some point, or a remake of Black Hole. I thought, from what Dad was telling me. Sorry, Dad. I think we're talking about stuff. I don't know. You've seen The Last Starfighter, right?
Yes.
A long time ago, once. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while. Yeah, I've seen it.
All right. Last Starfighter is Lorimar Productions, distributed by Universal.
Oh, Universal has it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So if they redo, it'll be on Paramount, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But it's under Warner Brothers Entertainment Wiki as well, so that's weird.
Mm.
So,
I'm trying to think of
right.
That's definitely an episode we need to do on the podcast. Just talk about movies we'd like to see a sequel to, and what director we think would fit the criteria to remake something like that.
Or if certain directors should get a second shot at something to make it more of their vision.
Mm-hmm. Just for not Ridley Scott. He's done it too much, and he's just shit on everything.
No, Ridley Scott needs to just take a nap. He just needs to take a really long nap.
I mean, at least, Lucas tried. I mean, some of the stuff he tried to add was okay. Some of it was not, but it's still much better than what Ridley Scott was doing, where he was just like, I'm going to make a movie that retcons completely everything and undermines the original arc of what the story was about. Oh, wait, that's modern Disney right now.
Ooh.
Shots fired.
Need some ointment for that burn.
All right. So in closing, guys, anything that we want to add to this discussion real quick before we kind of sign out?
Well, I would just like to ask one question. Would Decepticons have truck nuts?
It depends on how. Well, they had wrecking balls for why? I don't know. I mean, they don't serve any purpose other than to hang there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
they're annoying.
It's kind of like those guys that buy nuts for their truck to show that it's a male truck.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
If you get a Decepticon turns into a truck, you're gonna have a big old pair of truck nuts hanging there just to piss people off. Starscream flying around, truck nuts right up under the engines. Why? Because that's Starscream.
Starscream would totally kill the pilot. He goes, "What is this? You're." Anyway. All right, guys. Go ahead. Yeah,
I was
go ahead.
like, how many Transformer movies have they made now of the newer ones?
I think 7.
Oh, that's right. There were the original 3, the follow-up 3, and then Bumblebee.
Yeah.
7, yeah.
There was a follow-up 3. It was what
Last
Wasn't
night.
Mark Wahlberg in him?
The 3 movies with Mark Wahlberg.
there were 3 movies with Mark Wahlberg.
I don't know. Let's find out. Hold on.
I was about to say I remember there being one, maybe a follow-up.
I saw the first one with him, and it wasn't horrible.
That one I remembered a lot of people were saying it was closer to what they wanted from the original Transformers movies, but
Well,
because they
okay.
were
I take it back.
disguised.
There's 6 movies right now, but with Rise of the Beast, that's going to be
Okay. So there were 2 Mark Wahlberg ones.
yes, 2 Mark
Okay.
Wahlberg, 2 Shia LaBeoufs or Boofs,
3.
whatever.
3
And then-
Shia LaBeouf, though.
Yeah, 3, and then the better one of everything, which was Bumblebee. And we don't know how Rise of the Beast is going to be because let me see.
I haven't seen a trailer for it yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, Bumblebee was good, but the sales were bad, so they're not going to make a part 2.
Well, at least Michael Bay doesn't look like he's part of this one. Stephen Capel Jr. It looks like the director for this one.
Well.
So we got Ron Perlman going to be Optimus Primal.
Huh.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. I wonder who they're going to have for. I mean, come on! If Megatron's not a big giant purple dinosaur with green undertone to look like Barney, I don't know. I just don't know if I can watch it.
The missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's a totally missed opportunity. And we got to have Inferno walking around as a giant ant going, "My liege, my queen."
Oh my goodness.
All
It's
right.
been Beast Wars.
All right. So
Yeah. All right, that's it. So let's
maybe we
let's
should wrap this one
Let's
up.
wrap this up. All right, guys. Thank you for joining this episode of the podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Tell us down below what your top 5 sci-fi movies are. Until then, have a good one, everyone. Stay leveling.